Is there more to midlife than just getting through it? Absolutely. Welcome. I'm your host, Debbie Cunningham, jazz artist turned midlife mentor, and I'm here to say to you loud and clear, it's time for your midlife crescendo. Hello, friends. Welcome back to Season 2 of Midlife Crescendo. I hope you had a wonderful holiday and are excited for a new year. Derek and I had a much quieter Christmas this year because our kids were elsewhere, but joyful nonetheless. Definitely different. As we begin Season 2, I will continue to do a weekly podcast interviewing women who are accomplishing amazing things or pivoting to new goals in midlife, as well as interviewing experts speaking on health, faith, and other areas that can help you through your midlife season. I also want to expand the reach and community aspect of Midlife Crescendo this year by adding an online book club, physical meetups, and travel opportunities for us as a community. This has been a huge desire for me all along to build a community where midlife women can actually gather in person or online and build friendships with other women, cultivate their dreams and aspirations, and live their lives fully at 40, 50, 60, and beyond. My goal is to have a Midlife Crescendo retreat or conference later this year. But I also want to curate travel experiences for us. I know lots of women who want to travel, but they don't have a travel partner, spouse, or a friend who also wants to go. So that's something that I'd like to add this year. My desire is to acquire more resources for you with experts and special guests to help you in your journey as it changes, no matter the season you are in. How are we to navigate the waters of singleness or widowhood? How do we connect with other women in these various seasons of our life? How do we cultivate friendships and our faith and healthy living? How do we manage our emotions or age-related mental decline? We are complex beings as women, and I want to keep expanding my own life as well as encouraging you in yours. So these are some of the new things on the horizon in 2025 for Midlife Crescendo. As a listener of the podcast, there are a few things I'd like to ask you this year. Would you consider taking a brief survey about Midlife Crescendo? I'd love your feedback about the podcast, what you'd like to hear more of and less of, where I can serve you, and where you need the most encouragement in this season of your life. You can find the link to the survey in the show notes or go to midlifecrescendo.com and click the link there for podcast survey. While you're there, you can also recommend someone as a guest for the podcast or sign up for Midlife Crescendo Women's newsletter too. Did you know we had a newsletter? Nothing is required, just more options for you to be encouraged and stay connected to all we have going on and will have going on through this next season. If you've enjoyed the podcast in the past year, would you please take 5 minutes and review the podcast wherever you listen? Reviews are huge to help other women know about the podcast. I don't have a team to market and promote this, but your words of recommendation actually matter more than any marketing promo anyway. Okay, now on with today's show. Okay, today on the podcast, we're talking about making 2025 the year you've always hoped for. It's January, a new year, new resolutions, new focus perhaps. I've never been great at New Year's resolutions, but I have learned to have goals and aspirations to focus on. I Googled New Year's resolutions recently and saw many inquiries. I think most of us consider making New Year's resolutions because there is something we want to change about the year behind us. We either didn't do all the things we had hoped for, or we didn't have the success we wanted, or we want to do better in some areas of our life in the coming year. For me, I'm a type A, firstborn, and always looking to see what I didn't accomplish and then what I want to work toward next and where I can improve myself. Chances are more than a couple of the top 10 most common resolutions will sound familiar to you or even be on your list. So here they are, the top 10. Number 1, exercise more. Number 2, lose weight. I'm always trying to lose a few pounds. Number 3, get organized. Number 4, learn a new skill or hobby. Number 5, live life to the fullest. Number 6, save more money, spend less money. Number 7, quit smoking. Never been a problem. I've never smoked. As a singer, I just couldn't smoke. Number 8, spend more time with family and friends. Number 9, travel more. Number 10, read more. All of these are worthy pursuits. Are there one or two that resonate with you? How will you implement these things into your life? I'm actually excited about a new decade. Much of my growth in my life has been triggered not just by a new year, but by entering a new decade. When I was 40, I began evaluating my life. Where was I? What had I accomplished at that point, and where did I want to be? When I realized I had unfulfilled aspirations around being a professional singer, I began evaluating what that would take. I went back to school and at age 41, recorded my first jazz album. All of this happened while I was a stay-at-home mom. I had a 10-year-old and a 6-year-old at the time. By age 50, I had built a jazz career and I was working on writing songs for my second album and a storyline for my book. And at 52, I produced my second album. And at 54, my book was published. So why am I reminding you about all this? Because if you've listened to the podcast in the past, I've talked about some of those things that I accomplished over the years. This is not to pat me on the back. In 2025, I will be turning 60. And no, I'm not embarrassed or ashamed to admit it. Now that I'm looking at my 60th year, I'm starting to wonder again, what is next? What do I want to do now? Part of aging is embracing life expectancy. How much time do I have left? Of course, no one knows. But we have to entertain the conversation a bit at least, because getting curious about the reality will help us to live differently. And isn't that what we're doing when we commit to a New Year's resolution? If we want to live a life without regret, we have to make our choices intentionally. We have to honestly assess what to focus on now, how, where, and with whom we want to spend our time. I'm going to be 60. If I only have a decade or two left here on earth, what do I want to do with that time? It's not a morbid question. It's to be wise and intentional. Personally, I want to focus on what matters to me now, because there are a lot of things at 60 that don't matter to me anymore. Spending time with my family, friends, and encouraging others to live their best life, that's what I want to spend time doing. I want to travel and see the world. Yet I also want to make a difference in the world around me. I want to grow closer to God, deepen my faith, and encourage others to do the same. So what about you? What are you looking forward to this year? What is it that you want to do differently? What do you want to accomplish this year that you didn't accomplish last year? I encourage you to give it some thought this week, or you'll be at the same place next January that you are right now. Because truly what we focus on grows. It's time for you to thrive in 2025. Okay, that's it for this week. I hope you are excited about your year ahead. Even if there's something you are dreading this year, nothing will change without effort, but everything can change with effort. And if you have made a resolution or two, how are you going to make progress on it? How are you going to keep it and move forward? I know for me, I need accountability to make changes, even when it's something I want to do. Sometimes it's just a checklist. And if you want a little help to make progress this year, go to midlifecrescendo.com and download my free resource, Thrive in 2025, to get started on intentionally accomplishing what you want to accomplish. I'll put the link in the show notes as well. Next week on the podcast, we'll be talking with Karen Anderson, who is a dear, dear friend, 70, and still pursuing work she loves. She is quite an inspiration. Thanks for tuning in today, and remember, midlife is just a brand new season to find your passion and purpose for your grand finale. Talk next week.